is of volcanoes. The youngest is the island of La Palma. It is formed from two volcanic ridges. The first is the extinct Cumbre Nueva to the north of the island. The younger, active Cumbre Vieja lies to the south. Geologist Dr. Simon Day's research was crucial in developing the La Palma megatsunami theory. It began with an unusual rift that had opened up during a major volcanic eruption in 1949.
We're standing here in the fault, and it runs way down to the south along the crest of the volcano for 2.5 miles. So it's one continuous long structure.
Day believes this fault is evidence of a geological time bomb, the beginning of a giant landslide.
What we think will happen in some future eruption is that this fault will have gotten bigger and the whole of this western side will slide away in a giant landslide into the ocean to create the tsunami.
This landslide would send the entire southwest section of La Palma, 1/6 of the island's total mass, crashing into the Atlantic Ocean in a single giant landslide. 1,200 billion tons of rock would hurtle towards the ocean at top speed. The resulting wave would head straight out into the Atlantic.
After crossing the Atlantic and piling up again on, for example, the eastern seaboard of the United States, the waves there, we predict, would still be between 30 and 100 feet high, even though it seems so extraordinary. This is what happens in the geological record. This is what Earth does.
Tsunamis are an inevitable part of Earth's dynamic structure. Their capacity to destroy is awesome. But as scientists begin to understand more about the origins of tsunamis, they are coming closer to predicting where and when these monsters may strike.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Phone Age News.
Acaba de explotar. Llevan el audio total, ¿verdad, Fátima?
Lo están viendo, tenemos imagen en directo. Acaba de producirse la erupción volcánica en la isla de La Palma.
Con las cámaras de televisión canaria en directo y en pleno informativo ocurría una erupción anunciada por la naturaleza en los últimos días con continuos temblores y desplazamientos de tierra.
Se ha producido en esa zona desde el Time. Estamos localizando estas imágenes en directo. Momento histórico en Canarias que vive una nueva erupción volcánica cuando son las 3:12 de la tarde.
Tras muchas horas sobre el terreno, los compañeros destacados en La Palma sintieron la ruptura de la corteza bajo sus propios pies.
¿Dónde? ¡Ay Dios, chicos! ¡Derrumbe!
Toma, toma.
Que conecten con nosotros.
¡Ah! ¡Directo! ¡Vamos! ¡Directo!
Momentos de gran tensión informativa que pudimos trasladar puntualmente en nuestra calidad de servicio público.
That was the moment that the volcano on La Palma burst into life and erupted. This is a little while later. We've got multiple vents with 150 metre high lava fountains. Wow. I've been expecting this to happen. We had build-up of earthquakes and large uplift in the land. So I was thinking this is quite inevitable. Wasn't expecting it so soon this afternoon. The activity seems to be increasing gradually, hour by hour, with no sign of it subsiding. Let's get the very latest from Volcano Discovery. Here's the latest from a couple of hours ago. La Palma volcano eruption updates. Lava flows cut road, threaten inhabited areas. Evacuations ordered. More and more details are emerging from multiple media covering the eruption in great detail. At just 4:33 p.m, a second fissure opened about 100 metres above the first one that opened at just 3:15 p.m. The Civil Guard has announced that 5,000 to 10,000 people will be evacuated from the municipalities of El Paso, Los Llanos de Aridan, Fuencaliente and Tazacorte as the lava flows begin to descend down the slope. The neighbourhood of El Paricio has already been evacuated. Current projections of the lava flows predict they are likely to run through an area near the settlement of Montario Rajada following a ravine. That worries us now, said the mayor of El Paso, Sergio Rodriguez, when interviewed shortly after the onset of the eruption. The main concerns are that lava might reach inhabited areas such as Laguna in Los Llanos de Aridan. The problem is further down in the Los Campitos area. The lava is advancing slowly. People can be evacuated with relative ease, he explained. As of now, local press indicates that at least 1,400 people have already been transferred to the El Paso soccer field. In the same municipality, lava has already begun to destroy some homes late in the afternoon. Lava cuts roads, airport closed. The lava flows already crossed the Tacande highway at around 5:30, making the passage of vehicles impractical. La Palma airport has also been closed during the first hours after the eruption as ash plumes hindered visibility, but later resumed its operations as the ash emissions decreased again. The alert status of the volcano was raised orange 3 out of 4, and the General Directorate of Security and Emergencies of the Government of the Canary Islands activated the Level 2 emergency situation in application of the Volcanic Risk Plan. Wow!
De La Palma, en las Canarias, España. Grandes cantidades de lava se ven expulsadas del volcán La Palma. Situación de alerta, evacuación inmediata para los habitantes de los alrededores.
It was just a quiet, serene landscape up until a few hours ago. And he's encroaching on the houses. So I already took a few houses out.
Continúa avanzando, cruzando esta carretera y se acerca a viviendas.
Mira, esas 2 casas ya van a perder. Eso de ahí era lava,
That used to be a nice house.
Se pasó la carretera ya, como ven ahí, eso es lava ya. Se pasó la carretera, va bajando abajo, se va a comer las casas esas ahí. Pinta feo y toda esa casa que hay por debajo, toda esa zona, eso ahí se lo va a comer seguro.
As long as all the people get out.
Ahí, y allí detrás, donde está saliendo ese segundo humo, parece ser otro punto secundario de otro cráter que hay, más uno.
It's just the old mountainside doesn't collapse. So, can a Canarian volcano cause an international catastrophe? Can you imagine a wave of biblical proportions capable of flooding and destroying parts of Europe and West Africa and the eastern shores of America? This is predicted by a mathematical model published in 2001 by a couple of geologists. This study predicts that such an event could be triggered by a volcano on La Palma, which could be more important than we think. And this is an article from 2018. Some people believe that our planet takes advantage of certain circumstances to take its revenge against this hairless monkey that has been mistreating it for a long time. That as a living being, it would have a kind of immune system that fights to expel from its organism the beings that are decimating it. The responses that this planetary immune system would trigger would be natural catastrophes. On the other hand, others argue that these disastrous events that claim thousands of lives are really processes that must take place following the laws of geophysics and geology that govern our planet. However, regardless of the cause of the natural disasters, the only thing that is certain is that our species, which believes itself to be the leader of the food chain, is defenceless against the inescapable forces of nature, which on several occasions have erased entire civilizations from the face of the planet in the blink of an eye. Such is our futility. I couldn't have put that better myself. Since the dawn of humanity, we have been aware that there are forces that are beyond us, although in one way or another we have tried to deal with them. At first we fought them passively, almost submitting to them. We thought that they were the furious gods who were executing their wrath against us for not worshipping them properly, and we tried to appease them by offering them all kinds of offerings. Today, Homo sapiens are trying to defend himself and to foresee these cataclysms through science and technology, and although we have made great strides, we are still in our infancy. In most cases, natural disasters happen without us being able to prevent them. One of these catastrophes, which lies in the limbo between plausibility and mere fable, could begin in the Canary Archipelago, specifically on the Palma Island, where a volcano whose name arouses atavistic fears in many people could once again outwit mankind. The Cumbre Vieja. The nickname given to this volcanic island lives up to its natural beauty. It is known as the Beautiful Island and is the most northwestern island of the Canary Archipelago. It is also a biosphere reserve since 2002, but we must not underestimate it because its surface is sown with volcanoes. The peaks of Taburiente, Fuencaliente, El Chaco, etc. rise majestically to the top of the skies of La Palma, but in this post we will focus exclusively on one of them, which we have not yet given the presentation it deserves. We are referring to the Cumbre Vieja volcano, which is the one going off right now. It is one of the youngest volcanoes on the island, as the oldest rocks have been dated to about 125,000 years ago, and its peak reaches 2 kilometers above sea level. It is located in the south of La Palma and practically occupies half of it. He is considered one of the most active on the island. In fact, in historical times, it has erupted 7 times. The last time in 1971, so that's 50 years. It has been in the news several times recently because of the seismic movements and swarms that have been detected in its vicinity. For example, last October, so that would be 2017, nearly 200 low-intensity earthquakes were detected in the southern part of the island on several consecutive days. So it's been rumbling for years. This has set off alarm bells in the face of an alleged imminent risk of eruption, which would lead to a disaster of unimaginable proportions. However, experts say it's normal for earthquakes to occur in an active volcano. Even so, fear is not diluted. It is curious, since not as much attention is paid to other similar situations that occur in other parts of the world. Something special has the Cumbre Vieja, so that the media and various internet webs devote so many paragraphs to it, and to understand this we have to travel in our own particular time machine to the year 2001. So this is what the beautiful area looked like just this morning. I'm going to read all this because I think it's very informative. Hope I'm not boring anyone. We'll get on to some other stuff later. The catastrophic model of Warden Day. That year, the scientific journal Geophysical Research Letters published a paper whose echo has survived to this day, as it comes back to light every time an earthquake occurs near the volcano. It's a bit more than a fucking earthquake at the moment. That work was signed by two geologists, Stephen N. Ward from the University of California and Simon Day from the University College of London. These authors tried to test the disturbing hypothesis: could the Cumbre Vieja collapse and cause a colossal tsunami that would destroy the eastern coasts of the Americas and the Atlantic coasts of the African and European countries near La Palma? Before answering this question, let's take this bit by bit. Why did they focus on the Cumbre Vieja and not on another volcano? As we have already mentioned, the Cumbre Vieja, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, has erupted several times during the historical period. The last two times were in 1949 and 1971. However, it was the 1949 eruption that alerted the experts. That event generated a fault or fracture under the western flank of the volcano, making it more unstable. On top of that, the same side was already unstable, according to Warden Day, as it is supported by a platform formed by the unstable accumulation of sediments generated during previous eruptions. For a better visualization, we can imagine a building built on a mountain of uncemented stones. From these data, Warden Day developed a mathematical model using a series of equations to evaluate the possibility of collapse and consequent fall into the ocean of the western flank of the volcano and the supposed tsunami that this landslide would cause. They also studied the worst possible scenario, which, according to their predictions, would consist of the detachment of no less than 500 cubic kilometres of the western flank of the Cumbre Vieja. Their conclusions could not have been more hopelessness. Such an event was possible. In fact, a future eruption of the volcano could open the underground faults on the western flank completely and throw hundreds of cubic kilometres of material into the water. But the worst of all is what would come next. A titanic tsunami that would initially reach a height of 500 metres and move at more than 800 kilometres per hour. This liquid fortress would wipe out everything in its path and reach some coasts of Africa and the Iberian Peninsula with waves of 5 to 7 metres. Such would be its magnitude that its apocalyptic echoes would reach several beaches in Eastern America with waves of 25 metres. The rest is history. Since then, numerous documentaries and headlines have fueled this study, and the fear of the Cumbre Vieja is re-emerging every time there is an earthquake in the area, however small it may be, or every time there's a volcanic eruption, however huge it is. Without leaving La Palma, the namesake of the Cumbre Vieja volcano, the Cumbre Nueva volcano, suffered a major landslide on its western flank 560,000 years ago. It is estimated that 200 cubic kilometres was submerged in the ocean, causing a tsunami of significant proportions. Continuing in Canary Islands, a 2017 survey published in Nature Communications found deposits left by tsunamis on Tenerife Island at 132 metres above sea level. Again, the collapse of a fragment of a volcano caused the waves, so the sea carried deposits up to a height of 132 metres. Wow. Already in historical times, in 1888 in the east of New Guinea, the Ritter volcano collapsed after a battery of eruptions, sending between 4 to 5 cubic kilometres of land into the ocean. It caused a number of tsunamis, some up to 50 feet high. Little is known about their true impacts. Even so, the event must have intimidated the natives of the place, since the phenomenon still lives on in the oral tradition. On May the 1980, a huge mass on the northern flank of Mount St Helens plunged into the surrounding lake, generating waves 250 metres high. In this case, the landslide was caused by an eruption that suddenly melted the polar ice cap at the top. Both the landslide and the tsunamis robbed the lives of 57 people and destroyed substantial material goods. So these tsunamis, perhaps they happen a bit more often, a bit more common than what people think. Don't panic. From what we have seen, it seems that it is common for volcanoes to collapse from time to time and cause tsunamis with great destructive power. As a result, Warden-Day's model is far from flattering, and there seems to be no escaping from the wrath of the Cumbre Vieja. However, there is still a glimmer of hope. What is scarcely mentioned when talking about the Cumbre Vieja and its fatal prediction is that the geologist model has been criticised and refuted on many occasions, first of all because not all of the premises on which they base their model are fulfilled. For example, it is proven that the western flank of the mountain is certainly located on an unstable sediment support, but what is still not conclusively proven is that there is an underground crack that crosses this region, according to scientists from the Instituto Volcanologico de Canaries. In addition, we must remember that Warden-Day placed special emphasis on the fact that a future eruption would completely open up the underground crack that generated the 49 eruption. However, another eruption occurred in the 70s and nothing happened. Also, the volcano is not as unstable as the pair of geologists had proposed. The scientists of Volcano even claimed that to reach a remarkable degree of instability, a strong explosive eruption combined with earthquakes of great magnitude would have to occur simultaneously, something that seems unlikely at the moment. Well, it did in 2018 when they wrote this, but it's looking a bit more likely now. On the other hand, it is true that the possibility of landslides and a subsequent tsunami of cyclopean proportions is real, although the probability is rather low. In fact, humanity has attended very few events of this kind. I'll be glad when I get to the end of this. Other mathematical and computer models have also been developed so far using more refined and effective tools. According to these new models, although the Cumbre Vieja volcano is likely to succumb to the forces of nature within several centuries or days, it is unlikely that 500 cubic kilometres of the mountain will be detached. In the worst case, a maximum of only 80 cubic kilometres would be released. The rest of the islands of the Canary archipelago would take the brunt of. At most, waves of just 2 to 3 metres would reach the American coast. Regarding the earthquakes that have been recurring for some time at the Cumbre Vieja, experts say there's nothing to worry about, since it's normal for these geological movements to occur in an active volcano. It can be concluded that it's not necessary to fear the Cumbre Vieja at the moment, and that we can continue to enjoy the wild and rugged landscapes surrounding the mountain. But we shouldn't be overconfident either, since nature is still that great unknown that has not yet revealed all its secrets, and some kind of terrible surprise may be waiting for us. I think that's brilliantly well written. I'm going to show you now the slides of the results of the computer model from back in 2001. This is if the whole half the island slips off, which is possible. 2 minutes after the event, you can see the size of the waves generated. Almost 1 kilometre high wave. It's a good job there's nothing, no little islands there to the west of La Palma. It's 5 minutes after. You see the tsunami spreading out, and the minus figures depict troughs in the sea level where the sea level goes down by 1,324 meters in that area, but we've still got half a kilometre high waves travelling out. And we get to 10 minutes after. You see the neighbouring islands are starting to be affected. So that's 67 metres hitting that island there. So that island would be totally wiped out and everything on it. You can see the wave spreading out after 15 minutes. And half an hour later, it's approaching the African coast now. 53 metre wave approaching Western Africa. And it starts hitting the shores of Africa with 50 metre waves. Just an hour later, after the slip, and presumably the rest of the Canary Islands are just washed away. So travelling at the speed of a jet passenger plane, they're already halfway across the Atlantic after 3 hours. And after 6 hours, it's in the UK with a good few meters, up to 11 meters there, predicted for Scotland. That the Irish Sea might funnel it, so where I live, I think the beaches could get a good 40, 50 foot even, you never know. Northeast and South America now, all the coast getting hit with up to 18 metre waves. And then it's got eastern US up to 13 metres, that's 40 foot. 40 foot tsunami. And then the model focuses on Florida 9 hours after the collapse. It's up to a 30 metre tsunami. So it could be bad. Let's have a quick look at some of the actual numbers predicted by Warden Day's computer tsunami model. It says after 2 minutes, a 900 metres thick dome of water rises above the landslide. After 5 minutes, the dome collapses to a height of 500 metres as it advances by 50 kilometres. Additionally, wave valleys form. After 10 minutes, the landslide is now over. Waves reaching heights of 400 to 600 metres hit the 3 Western Canary Islands. Between 15 and 60 minutes, 50 to 100 metre high waves hit Africa. A 500 kilometre wide train of waves advances across the Atlantic. Between 3 and 6 hours, the waves hit South America and Newfoundland, reaching heights of 15 to 20 metres and 10 metres respectively. Spain and England are partially protected by Palma, thus tsunami waves there only reach 5 to 7 metres. You're still knackered if you're lying on beach. 9 hours. Waves 20 to 25 metres approach Florida. They are not expected to grow farther as they hit the coast. Well, it won't bloody matter. France and the Iberian Peninsula would be affected as well. Further, the authors concluded that the size of the tsunami roughly scales with the product of the landslide speed and its volume. They suggested that traces of past tsunamis may be found in the southeastern United States or on the continental shelf in northeast Brazil, in the Bahamas or Western Africa. Well, it doesn't even mention New York. If New York gets hit with a 25 metre wave, it's they're in big trouble. They might have 9 hours warning, but you'll not be able to get out. There's too many people. So anybody on the East Coast, they just need to be on the guard. And the first ones to move will get out, and the ones that are slow to react to it, well, it will not be very good. Put it that way. Hey, did everybody see this after the magnitude 7 earthquake in Mexico last week? We have so much more to understand about the planet.
Exactamente el momento en el que el Servicio Sismológico Nacional está dando como la hora de inicio de este sismo, que ya decías, Ana Paula, preliminar 6.9, con localización a 14 kilómetros al sureste de Acapulco, Guerrero, que fue el primer sensor, digamos, que captó este movimiento telúrico ahí en las costas del Océano Pacífico, en las costas del estado de Guerrero, y esta es pues la imagen del momento aquí en las antenas de Televisa Chapultepec, un movimiento telúrico que las autoridades dicen de fuerte a muy fuerte, que fue como se sintió. Hace unos...
Now, I would absolutely love to bring you a cow fart report this week, but there is no data available for the METOP Air satellite, and there hasn't been for 2 weeks, and the data from the METOP B satellite has been a bit sketchy too. So, will I ever be able to bring you another methane report? A new methane update? Or are they going to hide the data forever because they don't want us to know just how bad it is? They are still feeding us Antarctic sea ice extent data though, which looks to be taking a dramatic tumble at the beginning of southern hemispheric spring. So if that continues, I think we'll very soon be in record territory for the time of year for lack of Antarctic sea ice. Here's the Antarctic ozone hole growing rapidly day by day. It looks like a ginormous gummy bear. Ah. Here's the latest from NASA Ozone Watch. You see the size of the ozone hole, 17th of September, and practically the whole of the continent is below 100 Dobson units. Says here the ozone hole area in millions of square kilometres has now reached 23 million square kilometres. The minimum ozone Dobson, it's got it as 126, but why is it showing purple? And the minimum stratospheric temperature has risen by 7 degrees up to a balmy 183 Kelvin. These are the annual ozone records. Obviously, we hit the biggest ozone hole area in 2006 when it reached 27 million square kilometres. We're now at 23 and getting bigger. Last year we got to 24, so we're going to exceed last year's hole, and that runs up to the 13th of October. And the minimum ozone Dobson units, and we're not even entered this period yet, 21st of September to the 16th of October, and we're already getting in the purpley pinky bits, so it's not looking good at all. This is the latest rendition of the Northern Hemisphere. As you can see, some darker blues setting in at the North Pole. A depletion of ozone is normally associated with colder temperatures in the stratosphere. And also you can see where there's more ozone, the greens and the yellows seems to be getting caught up in weather systems. Now for some space news. Near-Earth asteroids. On September the 19th, 2021, there were 2,213 potentially hazardous asteroids. But don't worry, because the vast majority of them were only potentially hazardous if they landed directly on your head due to their small size. But I bet you didn't know we have just narrowly averted another major catastrophe. This coming Wednesday, you can see where my mouse is, an enormous 177 metre wide asteroid is going to whiz past the Earth within 4 lunar distances. That's a bigger. Now, if we look at the stats on this, we will see that it was first observed on the 12th of June this year, just 3 months ago. 177 metres, and it's going to fly within 4 lunar distances. Now, what's the chances that could have been on a collision course? These are coming out of nowhere. And would they have warned us? Or would they have told us? Right, would they told us in June when they worked on the calculations, end of June, excuse me, people of Earth, we have a problem. We've got an impactor. That would seriously cause some shit, that would. I'm here on the Sky Live. Let's Asteroid Near Earth Object 2021 NY1. You can get all the stats on this baby on this website, where you can find it in the sky if you've got a good telescope. Distance in kilometres at the moment. How long its light takes to get, but this is the good bit. Shows you its orbit and future encounters. So here we've seen 2021 gets within 4 lunar distances, and it's going to get very close again in 2048. And so if it doesn't hit us this time, it could come back in 2048. Which there won't be any humans left by then anyway, but I'm just saying, Might give evolution the boost, as catastrophes like this have happened before. Mind you, it's only 177 metres. It would affect us if it hit us now, wouldn't it? Sorry, I'm wobbling on a bit now. If it doesn't hit us in 2048, it's going to come back in 2071. But who knows what else is out there which might have our name on it. And here's a nice picture of its orbit.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
I'm going to leave you now with some of the very latest pictures from the Canaries. I'm totally in awe.
Desgraciadamente esta ya se la comió. Y ahora se va a comer la otra. A ver si queda algo y le podemos salvar algo, que lo dudo. Qué putada. Desgraciadamente esta ya...
Gonna leave you now with the very latest footage at the time of recording. I think if you live on a vulnerable coast, need to set yourself some notifications in case the worst happens, and give yourself a few hours to get out of the way, because you never know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I just hope you all take care in this very unpredictable world. Of course, there's lots of other things going on too. I can't cover everything at once. There's things I would love to cover. Anyway, I think this is on YouTube, so I better get off quick before I get a strike. So you all take care, look after yourselves, love one another, and I'll see you all again soon, hopefully. Right. Bye now.